Welcome to another episode of Redesigning Your Relationships Live. I am your host, Giovanna Burgess-White, with my co-host.
Hello, I am Yvette Valdenegro.
And if you are joining us for our, I think it's not our second time, but if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We go live every Wednesday. If you're joining us again, and this is I can't wait to dive into part 2 of self-love, this is what we're going to talk about today. But before we go there, we have a podcast every Friday for you. We have some amazing mini series. So go back, and at any time, if you want to reach out to us, we are here for you. So look at the links, check them out, book a call with us, because we are here to help you redesign relationships in your life. So last month, January, was self-love month, but Yvette and I believe that self-love should be every single day of the year.
Yep.
So we are bringing you this beautiful mini series on self-love, and part 2 is what self-love can do for you.
Whoop, whoop. Okay, last time we discussed the decoding of what self-love is, and please go back and listen to it because we really came up with definitions and quotes that are unique and are not what you're going to hear out there as far as what self-love used to mean. And I think that we brought some different unique ideas to what it means now in 2023 for women and what that really looks like. So today we would just really want to talk about what self-love can do. But before we do that,
just kidding. Tech was quick.
Okay, first of all, someone said this the other day, and I'm like, I think this is genius. So I want to ask everybody who's listening to put in, sometimes when someone says comment, tell us, feedback, you kind of think like, I don't really know what to say. Like, what do you want me to say? I thought this was great. Just use one word, how you feel, what you're thinking, what this is doing for you, what it's not doing for you, whatever you want to say, just use one word. Just whatever. Make it super easy, but we love feedback. So just while you're listening, if you come up with a word or something just prompts you, just quickly put it in. No pressure, no anything, because one word is super easy just to type. And most words are under 8 characters, so you're good. Okay.
So, wait, before you go, that people are like, wait, what? You can only do that on YouTube if you're watching live right now. So live.
Oh, okay.
Or if you are watching on repeat or on replays on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. If you're listening to the podcast, so we absolutely love that you're listening, go to any of those platforms. Go to Instagram, go to LinkedIn, go to Facebook, and you can leave us a comment in the replay because we do want to hear from you. Or you can just DM us on any of those platforms. But I just wanted to make that clear because we are out in the world on all platforms. So, all right.
Okay. All right. Woohoo. Well, no, before we get there.
Oh, just kidding.
Just kidding again. There's the morning of just kiddings. Okay. I just want to say this. Again, what is the importance of talking about all this, right? And I don't even want to re-talk about everything we talked about. It's really simple. You are essential to you. That seems so basic. Why is this important? Because I'm essential to me. And this is a great way to make peace with yourself, your inner self for your entire life and the moment and for your future. And to really realize that, big note to self, we're not perfect, but to embrace the imperfectness, because I feel like the more you embrace it, the more you just value yourself and understand yourself, which leads into something that I want to read, because really you're accepting all of you, your emotions, your thoughts, your body, just your entire being. And when you hold yourself, this is what I want to read. When you hold yourself in high esteem, you're more likely to choose things that nurture your well-being and serve you well. So if you're focused in on the essential you, then you're going to make choices that nurture you. And what a wonderful snowball effect that you just keep nurturing. Then you do it again, then you do it again, and out comes amazing self-love. Okay, that being said, what in the world is this?
And for people who are like, but what? Why, Gio? Why, Yvette? That is our tagline, not because we were like, oh, let's just come up with a tagline. It is. Strong relationships begin with being the best version of you.
Yes.
The ultimate purpose, guess, is you need to do you and really understand what that relationship with yourself looks like. But you can never have a strong relationship with anybody else,
Mm.
including your business, if you're not okay at the core.
Yeah.
And that's why we would start with you.
And that's why we start our whole business concept. It starts with you. Everything. That's why when, it's such a cliche, but it's true. What's the common denominator in the situation? Like let's dating. I dated that guy, 200 guys later. Oh, it all ended up in tragedy. Same story, different day, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, what was the common denominator in the 200 people you dated?
Yep.
You. So it's not a them thing, it's a you thing. And it's not don't look at it as a negative, look at it as how can I grow as a person? What can I do for me, my inner me? Maybe there's something lacking. Maybe there's something that you're trying to fill. Maybe there's a void, but really understand that. Okay. So what self-love can do for you? So why are we even talking about this? Because yes, you want this to be doing something for you. Self-love helps reduce stress and anxiety, including depression symptoms. I don't think that we are aware enough of what the lack of self-love is actually doing to us. So when we talk about stress and anxiety and depression, most people don't connect it to how they're really feeling about themselves. They look at the symptoms. Like, what's happening in my outside world? This didn't work. I got fired from here. No. They're looking at all those things instead of really looking at the source. And again, the source being you. And then, yes, the anxiety, the stress, the depression, but loving yourself, nurturing yourself, and understanding yourself reduces all that. And I love the word reduce. Doesn't say makes it go away, because let's just be real. If all of your stress and anxiety go away, then we might be having a celebration of life, because you can't not feel. You're a human being. Accept that you're a human being. That's the beauty of being humans, that we get to think and feel.
Yep.
Okay, the next one.
The next one, it creates a higher level of satisfaction. I know it's simple, it's easy, but it's the truth. Again, this all revolves around you and understanding what that relationship needs to look like, feel like, and be like. We always focus on everybody else and how everyone else is doing, how everyone else is feeling. But how about if we did that first? What would the return on investment be for everyone else?
I like that one. That's good. Okay. And it creates a stronger motivation. And by the way, these all kind of go together, like they build on each other in some weird way, and you'll see at the end. So obviously reducing your stress levels, having a higher satisfaction level, it's going to give you more motivation. Yeah. Let's just say everyone wants results. We're all looking for results in our life, right? No one wants to go on the treadmill for a whole month, 2 hours a day, to have no results. You want to have results. Well, this is how you're going to get results, because it's going to motivate you in your life.
The next one, self-love makes you more productive. Oh, they do build on themselves. See, these feelings create emotions, and these emotions create actions. And it's crazy. We talk to our clients all the time. We already know all the things we don't want to do. We know the things we don't want to feel. We already know what the bad days look like, feel like. So let's make that positive. Yep. And imagine what the outcome, productivity, motivation looks like, again, when everything is not all the time good. It's always not always going to be good. But when things are going well for you, when you start having the feelings that you want, productivity comes. Excuse me.
Which, you almost said it. That's why I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to say it without saying it. The reducing your stress, higher levels of satisfaction, you become motivated, which means you become productive. In that productivity, you are developing healthier habits, because you're starting from a new framework and mindset of healthier. So you reduced the stress, which gave you more satisfaction, which brings you stronger motivation. You're more productive. That production is creating and developing your healthier habits, which of course all of us want. And now that we're in, 6 weeks into the new year and everybody's New Year's goal, again, look, isn't that kind of funny or interesting? The healthier habits stem from loving yourself. It all goes back to the same thing.
Yeah, instead of having these crazy resolutions, you should really just say, hey, I'm going to have a better relationship with myself this year.
Yep.
That looks different for everyone, completely different for everyone. So self-love improves your emotional resilience. I love it. That's so important. Again, feelings, emotions, actions. This is you every day. You wake up every day with yourself. You go to bed with yourself every day. Like, there's nobody else. That's why I think it's crazy that we put ourselves last, especially as women. How can we even do that? How can we show up and be all the things for everybody else, but we can't do it for ourselves?
Yep. Okay. Which, why we do what we do? Because self-love will improve your relationships. I mean, I may be super biased in this, and I know this is what we do. Relationships are everything. Again, relationship with ourselves. If we're all these things that can do for us leads to better, improved relationships, whether that's with your partner, your kids, your work, your friends, your family. Who doesn't want improvement in the relationship? Who doesn't need that? Who couldn't be improving? But again, where it all stems from, where it all comes from first is your self-love and your acceptance of all that. So again, that's why I was like, wow, this is all building on each other, which leads to our next slide, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are truly creating a pathway to your center and inner peace.
I love that.
Oh my God. It's almost like if someone said, well, you guys, I just don't feel peace in my heart. I mean, how do I get there? Okay, you just got the lineage, the links, the pathway down to inner peace. Inner peace begins with you.
Yeah, and you have to take the time to do this. This isn't like something like, okay, here's a list. I'm going to print it out. Got it. No, this is going back to your relationship with time and putting yourself on your own calendar. You can put all the pickup for the kids, going to hang out with my husband, going to work, team, all the things. And then there's never time for you. And yes, it's okay to carve out time, put it in your calendar. You are just as important. And then fill that time with what you need. That's why everyone's journey to self-love. Oh, that sounded so woo-woo. But yes, everyone's journey to self-love is different. And we talked about that in episode 1. Even like the word or the 2 words self-love just sounds weird because it's nothing that we're taught or used to doing. But what is that? Personal growth, development. It could be therapy. It could be counseling. It could be coaches. It could be reading. It can be out in nature. Like, there's just so many things. Make your list. Start creating that routine for yourself. Because again, the return on investment right now, like if you're like, oh, but I do all the things for everybody else and I'm like so involved, like, great. But if you don't have that self-love, how much are you really giving? That's not the kind of person that I want to be to give if I don't even give to myself. And that's teaching also. That's also teaching the people that are close to you, if it's your spouse, your kids, that's okay. That it's okay to not put yourself first. It's okay to put everybody else before you. But you don't have that time and space. That's like us teaching something that being relationship coaches, but not knowing what coaching was or what relationships really are, and putting the time and investment in what we do. So I really want you guys to think that, like, how much time are you really putting on the calendar for yourself, and what does that look like?
And I loved all the things, whether you just did it, you listed, are not material things. Everything you just listed, going, taking a walk, all that kind of stuff. That's not, and the only reason I mentioned that, because I was like, you know what? I feel like, again, a lot of times we think of self-love as going and getting a thing. Like, oh, I'm going to go take care of myself and I'm going to go buy a boat. I'm going to go get a new car. I'm going to go, like, those are material things that will give you satisfaction in the moment, but not continue to give you actually a result. It's like, yeah, it did something for 2 seconds. And that's why I know that this is true. I have either friends or people over years that we've talked to that will go buy things, and guess what they do? They hide it in their closets from their partners because they had a moment where they wanted to feel better, or they're doing it for revenge purposes, whatever the reason. And then they have it in their closet, but they still feel the same way once they get home. And now they're living in guilt and embarrassment and shame because they went and did something that they now feel really bad about. You didn't fix the problem. Again, source is you. The materialistic things is just there. It's something you're touching and feeling for a second, but it's really not going to satisfy the inner you.
Yeah. Well, I know you said last time we jumped off so fast. So is there anything else you want to add before we jump off and say who this episode is sponsored by?
No, but the one thing we didn't get to share last time, and I'll do this. I was the last person to the table with loving Miley Cyrus's new song, the Flower Song. Oh my God, I put it on my playlist now when I go ride my bike. It's in there. I absolutely love it. I think it's amazing. But when I was reading this, I thought, you know, whether you're married or not, it doesn't matter. You're in a relationship, it doesn't matter. The point is, I would say at least 99.9% of all people by the time they get to the age of 85, 90 have been in some kind of relationship where it didn't go right, right? And the first thing you do is you start to feel, well, if I don't have that person in my life, what's it going to be like? I don't have this and I don't have that, and the value of who I am. Okay, all that, when I read these lyrics, I love how she just gets to the point. It's about someone who just broke up with another person, and all of a sudden she starts going through those emotions, but she stops herself immediately and she says, wait a minute. Now I can buy myself flowers. I'm going to cry. This is so bad. Write my name in the sand. Talk to myself for hours, say things you don't understand. I can take myself dancing and I can hold my own hand. Yeah, I can love me better than you can, which is so true. And I can say from my own personal life that I haven't always felt that way, that I could go buy myself flowers, that I could just be by myself. And now I'm really proud to say that I can go do, like, I am a 100% whole person without having to rely on someone else to define me or make me. That's not an easy process to go through. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, but it goes back to this whole self-love thing. You've got to value who you are inside and see yourself as that value. And then love yourself like no one else ever can. And when you take your eyes off the other person, well, they don't do, and they don't do, and they don't do. Great, because they're not, that's them. What are you doing for you?
Yep.
If you want flowers, go buy your flowers. If you want to go to the movie, go do your own movie. If you wanted to go to that restaurant, go to the restaurant. And I love that I see more and more people doing this, that you can go somewhere and they're independently doing something on their own.
I love it.
Amazing.
It's so great. So we'll be on next week for part 3 of our mini series, our final part. And go back and listen to part 1. And if you need more, guess what? We have blogs. We have additional podcasts. Our boundaries series from November is really great to kind of go hand in hand with this, with self-love, especially boundaries with yourself, because that's how you start to create them. And this episode was sponsored by your business bestie, Carrie Andrews, and her team help you delegate, automate, and elevate everything in your business. So you can see, you can actually do a connect call with her as well. Everything's in the show notes. She's amazing. She takes care of us. She takes care of our clients. And so we're super, super thankful for all of our sponsors. And we will see you next week.
All right. Bye.